Hey, welcome to Journey to Truth podcast. My name is Tyler Koala with Aaron Kuhn, and tonight we have on Kalyn McDonald. She is a social media and marketing manager for Full Disclosure Project, and you're also a production assistant for Dimensions of Disclosure. Would you like to introduce yourself as well and kind of go into that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. First, thank you guys for having me on. I've been following you guys since you started, and I'm super proud of you both. And I think you guys are doing a really amazing job.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So I joined the Full Disclosure Project team last year. It's been about a year now. So I manage the Full Disclosure Project page. And I'll kind of step in and help Corey out with Sphere Being Alliance page when he needs it. And I work with Adrian Youngblood, who is the producer of the family of Dimension conferences. So Eclipse of Disclosure, the Dimensions of Disclosure 2018, now 2019. So yeah, I kind of titled myself production assistant because, we don't really have specific titles or anything. It's pretty much just a small group of really hardworking people that, just try to get these conferences off the ground and bring humanity together in this whole raising our vibration mission. So yeah, but everything you've seen on Full Disclosure Project for the last year has been me. It's been great. And part of what I want to get out to you guys and pretty much the community in general is just some different tips and tricks and ways to manipulate the algorithm back on themselves, because it's possible.
Yes,
And
tell us how to do that, please.
Yeah, for sure. So just to qualify myself first, I back in 2012, I worked for a third-party agency, and we were all certified through Facebook in Palo Alto, meaning had to actually call into Facebook and do our deal and get their blessing and so forth to basically run their small and medium-sized business advertising department. So that's what my company did. I was, I think, the second class that went through, so we pretty much launched the program. And anytime for all of you brand owners and business owners and everybody that has a business page and so forth, when you see that, reach out to a Facebook marketing expert icon, that was me.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what my company did. So so basically what we would do is we would help, advertising was obviously the goal because that's the revenue stream for Facebook, but we also got to work with the business owners as far as branding and building their page and teaching them about organic reach and engagement and so forth, and just a lot of budget optimization. So with that, I learned a lot of ways that you don't actually even need a budget. Depending on your goal, you don't really need a budget to build an audience and to get your content to reach more people. So the biggest trick to that is content strategy. So I will give you the biggest number one secret about marketing on social media is it is not about your brand, it's about your audience. So putting up your own content, the reason a lot of times you'll see your engagement kind of peaks out to where, you might have, say you have 1,000 likes or 1,000 followers, but you're only reaching maybe 100 of those on a regular basis. An organic way to get that up is you have to think about your audience and your demographic and what are their other interests, right? So we have that's a big bubble in the disclosure world, right? So,
Yes,
I'm going to go ahead and use you guys as an example. So Journey to Truth, right? So obviously anything disclosure related, anything QAnon, anything ufology, anything awakening, Tesla does fabulous on social media. Anybody and everybody keep a Tesla meme in your back pocket. Tesla does fabulously on social media. So, say you guys have a show every week, right? And you are going, you put out your teasers on Wednesday and your show on Friday. Well, you've got 5 other days that you have to fill up with content to keep people engaged in your page. So that way, when you do put out your video that video will organically reach a larger audience because they've already been interacting with your page. So it's all about likes, comments, shares, and clicks, basically. Getting anybody to touch your post will tell the algorithm that you're putting out interesting content. So when you put out something that is branded, and when you put out, your own content, then Facebook says, oh, this page, a lot of people interact with this page, so we're going to push this out to more people. So
would shadow banning, like, how does that fall in? How do you know if you're being shadow banned, and would all that work if you're being shadow banned? Does it matter?
Well, they didn't teach that in our marketing courses.
It's something
It's not supposed to exist.
Yeah, exactly, because that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those that a lot of social media, when it comes to marketing or when it comes to branding, and remember, when I say marketing isn't, here, give me your money, right? Like, marketing is, it's information. All of us are marketing disclosure every day, all day long, right? And that, not even if you own a business page, if you're just a person in the community who's trying to wake up your family, wake up your friends, wake up your coworkers, well, we're all marketing things. So marketing is a neutral term. It can be negative, it can be positive. It all depends on, the motives behind it, like anything. But it has its own polarity, right? Like, it has its own duality. With marketing on social media, it's all about analytics. Like, you kind of have to look at your analytics. You have to see what people are responding to. And because you're constantly watching that, that's when you can kind of start to feel if you're being shadow banned or not, because there's sometimes when I'm putting stuff out on FDP or even SBA, or I'm looking at the analytics on either one of those pages, there are certain topics and certain subjects and I know what that audience looks like on the back end, you know what I mean, for those pages. So when I see something that I know should be reaching this many people, should be getting this much engagement, should be going this far, when it's not, your spidey senses kind of go off, type of a thing.
Yeah, I've experienced that.
For sure.
My own page, definitely. It's like no one, sometimes it won't be anybody, and it's like, come on now,
Right. Right. But at the same time, and some people might not want to hear this, not every time are we being shadow banned. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just not the case. And that's kind of where I want to step in and give people and different brands these pointers, just because a lot of times we think we're being shadow banned. And I even have to check myself, because sometimes I'm like, oh, that vaccine one didn't go out. Like, okay, obviously. But then I have to kind of go back and look at, the other content that I've put up before and after that, and see if it was possibly just an algorithm thing. So is shadow banning happening? Of course. You know what I mean? Are we getting suppressed? Of course, but sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't, and an example of content strategy is, so like I said, we'll keep using you guys. So, a standard amount of posts for a business page, which if you have anything outside of a personal page, you have a business page, whether, it's a blog or a product or a show, you have a business page. So kind of standard is usually like 3 posts a day, because you don't want to post too much because it just saturates it. You don't want to post too little because then people stop engaging, and then you have to work to build your engagement back up. So, on the days you aren't putting out unique content or your own content, again, you go back to what else does my demographic like, and it's, and you kind of want to keep it fresh. You kind of want to do, we can't just put out, like one person's information, or we can't just use like the same image over and over again. So you got to kind of always keep it fresh. Because literally we have this long, right? Like, to catch somebody's attention. This is the attention span that we've been reduced to on social media, right? You have the swipe of a thumb. And if the headline, the image, the subject matter, if it doesn't catch their attention and they don't like, comment, share, you missed opportunity every time. So, it's, and the second biggest secret is images, memes. There is a reason why, I mean, every time I see Q, you know, push the memes, like it warms my social media marketing manager heart, because I've known since 2012 that images go farther on Facebook than articles, than videos now, you know, are better, but before we didn't used to have video capability right in the news feeds, right? They'd have to click on a link, it would take them off the platform, that type of thing. Now videos will play directly in the news feed, which is what you always want to use if possible. Because anytime they have to, again, this is all we got. You know, if they have to like stop and do anything else, like you probably have lost their attention, you know? So, but memes are, I mean, it's just such an amazing marry of the two, because memes go farthest on social media. And now, you know, we're in a meme war. Like that's how we're attacking the other side. So to me, it's just, it's so synergistic. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, we are the definition of amateurs at all of this, beginners, whatever you want to call us. So all this is very valuable information.
Yeah, we have no idea what we're doing.
None of us did. None of us did.
But you know what? We started just going with our hearts and following our hearts, and it's already taken us somewhere. So
yeah,
for sure.
Now it is time, I think, to hone in on a lot of that stuff and start taking advantage of the algorithms and stuff like that. But we have no experience. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's a way to translate that to personal pages too. So, you know, having come from the Facebook background, you know, even before disclosure and before this whole world opened up to me, you know, I've been in the vein of saving the world for a long time, right? So, you know, whether it's veganism or rescuing animals or something, you know, recycling, I've been promoting things for years and years. And so I knew, you know, when I was really big into animal rescue, I knew before I put out a dog or a cat that needed to find a home, you know, a couple hours ahead of time, I would put out some funny image or some funny meme, because again, you know, the algorithm is universal from personal to business pages. There's different strategies, but it's still universal. It's all about engagement, period. Likes, comments, shares. You want somebody to interact with the post, because then that person will see the next thing you put out. So I would be kind of sneaky. And if I knew I had to put out something, and I still do it now with disclosure stuff, if I know I'm going to put out a Trump meme that's going to alienate 98% of the people in my other life, you know, I'll throw out a meme, you know, I'll throw out the dodo video or something that I know everybody's going to start interacting with. And then I'll like slide that QAnon meme right in there. So they see it next time, because I know we all have, for, you know, the last few years, the biggest complaint in the community is that everybody thinks that their friends and their family just stopped communicating with them on Facebook. And that's true to a certain extent, because they don't know what to do with the information we're putting in front of their face, right? It is true to a certain extent, but a big part of that is they're not seeing it, because they stopped interacting with that information. So that tells Facebook that that person doesn't like that information, or doesn't like, you know, doesn't interact with that type of information, or doesn't interact with that person any longer. So you just fall off their newsfeed. So sometimes it's, you know, they unfriended us, they blocked us, they did whatever to us. A lot of it now though is just they're not even seeing it, because again, the algorithm.
Yeah, because I post stuff quite often, and I had a guy at work. He's like, "Man, where have you been? I thought you dropped off the face of the earth. You don't post anything anymore." So, and I was like, "Actually, I do all the time." So that's a perfect example. Like he's just not seeing anything.
He's just not seeing it.
Yep, for sure.
And I did drop off the face of the 3D Earth, by the way.
Yeah, didn't we all? Nosedived right off the side.
And
real quick though, I have to give.
Well, sometimes people will unfollow you too. I know for a fact at least a few people unfollowed me because they just didn't see it in their feed.
Yeah, we all went through the initial purge. And we didn't purge, other people purged us.
Exactly. And then when I posted the vaccine thing for the first time, it turned into a shitstorm, and like 20 people attacked me. That was you started commenting on that, actually. That was it was right before Eclipse's disclosure, I remember. And you were helping me out on that, so thank you.
Very welcome. Yes, I will. Most of my interactions on social media are strategic because I want to help either push out somebody else's information or, you know, just in some way, shape, or form. And that's just from years of knowing how the algorithm works. That's just kind of how I do social media now. So yeah, for sure. Real quick though, I want to make a shameless plug for these DefenderShield air tube earbuds. I do not have EMF radiating into my ear canals and into my brain. And right now I'm telling everybody because, and you can ask my friends and family, like I sent everybody the website and like their coupon code in the last week. They're doing a 20% off sale for Memorial Day weekend. It's DefenderShield.com and it's all EMF stuff. So
we'll have to we'll drop that in the description.
Yeah, please
Sure.
do.
And the code, even if we can get
I'm
that.
definitely gonna check that out for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'll find it. This one's not, it's not staying in my ear, but that's the side with the microphone. Yeah.
What do they cost roughly?
These were somewhere between 40 and 60 because they were on sale and then I used the coupon code, so it brought it down a little bit more. So it was in that range.
Totally worth it though, right?
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I've had Orgonite around my house for years. I actually have my house gridded out with the cell tower busters, the tower busters.
Yeah.
So I've had them in the corners of you know, they're by appliances. They're in the corners of the house, so it's got kind of like a grid protection thing going on. There's another company called Zorb, and you have to forgive me. I've had this one a few years and I keep changing cases. So it's ceramic and something else, but I watched the guy put a smart meter next to my phone and then put one of these on it and I saw the different readings. So I've had this on my phone for a few years and there's a bigger one that's about the size of a silver dollar that I have in my car too. So
is that just taped on there or how do you have that on
it
there?
is taped on there now. It used to stick, but I've had a few phone cases since then and I refuse to go without it. I believe they've got a shelf life of about 4 to 5 years. And I think I got this in 2017. So yes, that is actually packing tape that I have on it.
Nice.
Hey, whatever works. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now you just need to get some Orgonite earrings and just definitely stop it all.
If I don't have pierced ears, but I do have some shungite around my neck. So there's some shungite, Japanese shungite. So yeah. Phoenix, I've been told, I can't 100% confirm this, but my sources are pretty solid, that Verizon, Phoenix is a test market for 5G for Verizon.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Well,
yeah.
You're ready, but you're also getting ready to hit the road, correct?
I am, in fact, yes.
Good
so
segue.
I'm, yeah, right? So I'm moving into a van.
Let's hear about it.
Yeah. So I had the perfect job for about 4.5 years. I had a beautiful job. I worked with like the professional yin to my yang. Like we complement each other so great, and he's my best friend now. Then everything changed at the beginning of 2018 and the client merged. So the agency merged and I was working for a marketing agency. So that trickled downhill and our teams merged within the agency and the product changed. And I mean, it just became it was a very dark year for me professionally. I got to go through a lot of my professional shadow. Got to do a lot of inner work. And I was crying every day. I mean, the thoughts got pretty dark, suicidal and just really depressed on top of working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week and, working from home all weekend long. It was a really bad situation. And I looked around one day and I realized that I was trapped by my own success. So I was paid above industry standards. So I couldn't find a job. I owned a home, I had a car and, all the stuff that comes with that. And I couldn't get another job because I would have to take too big of a pay cut, which meant that I would have to get a second job, which didn't, you know what I mean? It didn't really solve the issue. It didn't really solve the problem. And so I just realized I was trapped in my own success. You know, obviously we know ultimately it was the paradigm and the system that's been engineered, you know, to keep us that way. And it just planted a seed, you know, that I don't want the house. I don't want the bill. I don't want those things if it's going to keep me that sick and that miserable, and keep me trapped, essentially, you know, taking basically my free will away, right? Like I had no choice. I had a choice, but my choices were homelessness, you know what I mean? Or, you know, or this horrible job.
I'm in the same exact boat right now with my house and car and everything, but I'm not going to van life. I'm going to Hawaii life, maybe.
There you go. There you go. Right on.
I am going.
Yeah.
Put it out there, brother. So it just kind of planted a seed. I've always been I've always been interested in tiny living and tiny homes. And I actually, a bucket list of mine for a long time was to be a truck driver, because I was like, there's campers in those, like you can live in the truck. Like, I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. I've moved around my whole life since I was literally a baby. And so I'm really happiest on the road. Not so much where I've been or even where I'm going, but like actually on the road, like that's just like my happy place. So it just made sense. And, you know, one thing after another. And once I made the decision, now Aaron knows me and he knows I've been through quite a bit of inner work in my life. And so I know when the universe supports something that I'm doing. I know what that feels like. I know when the universe does not support what I'm doing. I know what that feels like. This though was like next level. I mean, the support, like not only was every door opening, but more was coming through than I could have even thought to ask for. Like, it was just really, really crazy synchronicities. That I'm very interested to see what the universe is cooking up for this van life adventure, because the universe really wants me in a van.
That's amazing.
Like really, really. Yeah. So
super jealous of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can totally relate to the universe liking or disliking where you're going.
Yeah.
And one of the things, once we started this podcast, actually,
yeah, that's actually a really good example.
I noticed just things falling into place. Like you said, the doors were opening. It was just noticeable.
Yeah.
Like we thought it would be a struggle to do this, to get people on.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's been the opposite.
It's been the complete opposite. Yeah. It's been like,
no, seriously, every week when I see your new guest, I'm like, yes. So proud of you guys. Like, you have to understand, I'm really so proud of you guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I mean, it's funny because, well, okay, so I'm gonna say this first. So Kalyn, you are the reason I even had the idea to do a podcast. And you know that. You told me.
I wasn't the reason, I was just the catalyst.
But yeah, we had a phone conversation, in the last year, I think, somewhere around there.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And you were like, hey, you should do a podcast, because there's not a lot of people doing podcasts in this community.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. But I was thinking like just me, like I didn't even think about getting another person.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd be able to, you know. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Because I was thinking like YouTube channel or something like that. But before doing this, I was really nervous about being on camera or on like a video.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt uncomfortable about it. So I was like, yeah, audio, I could do that and just like get my thoughts out and things.
Little did you know.
Maybe once in a while. Yeah. Maybe once in a while I have a guest on. And then I met up with Tyler, and Tyler was just like, yeah, man, I just really want to do something. I don't know what, and it was like, how about a podcast? Because an idea from you. And he's like, all right. Sure, why not?
It was like not even 2 weeks later.
And literally 2 weeks later, yeah.
I know. And then everybody, like, I mean, just bam, you had the names you needed and the guests that, you know, they just came. So it's.
Yeah, we just sent out a bunch of messages
awesome
to people, and we're like, oh, maybe one or two of them will agree to do it. Every single person within like 2 days, I think. I was like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like, we have 3 months booked. What do we do?
And yeah, we had like 2 months booked, like 3 days of people. We're like, wow, this is going way faster than I expected.
That's awesome.
Well, and I was like, oh, like half the time it'll probably just be us two doing this because we won't be able to get enough people to fill every single week. Like I did not think that at all starting it, and it's been completely the opposite. Like we have a whole list of people that we want to get on. And like, it's gonna take like 3 years to get all these people on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been amazing. Yeah.
For sure.
So I want to go back to the van life a little bit. I have more questions.
Yeah.
So do you have the van?
I do.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
What do you plan on doing? You just drive and like let your intuition guide you, or do you have like a plan?
That is the end goal, but no, currently my job is still stationary in Phoenix. So I will actually be in Phoenix during the week, and then I will take off on the weekends. And I actually have, a few weeks ago I was laying in bed and I had my phone like humans do. And I got this idea. I went on Instagram and I created an Instagram profile called This Vantastic Life. And and it was available. And I was like, really? Seriously? Yeah, it was, again, I'm telling you guys, like the support is like next level. So This Vantastic Life was available. So I snagged that. I went to Gmail and I created a Gmail account, This Vantastic Life 1.0 at gmail.com. Because I call my van now 1.0 because I have a goal for 2.0, but those are, oh my God, like some of those cost about what my little townhome costs, so yeah. And so I have the Facebook page, I have the IG account, I have a Gmail. So I'm going to, once I get through this gauntlet of putting my house on the market and getting everything moved, and I'm at the very end, like it's literally Friday's go time. Like Friday is the day. I have tenants I'm renting out my house, so my tenants they move in this weekend, and so Friday's go time. But it's been 2 a.m. every night for 2 weeks, and the weeks before that were Yuma every weekend, because I bought the van in San Diego. And my grandparents are full-time RVers, and so they have a park in Yuma. So I've just kept it down there while I got all this stuff done up here in Phoenix. But once I get over the weekend and I can actually start getting some content together and actually have time to sit down and like look at everything, I'll be launching that brand and kind of see where that's going to go. I kind of want to take the angle of, there's tons of van life stuff on Instagram, right? Like that's honestly where I get a lot of ideas. And that was kind of one of my motivations to pull the trigger on this. But van life is real life, and you know what I mean? And that's kind of the angle I've taken so far in my personal page. Like I want to show people, because I want people to understand that it's possible. And I want people to understand that we have more options than what we are led to believe. And it might not be a van, it might be a class A, like rock star bus, it might be a tiny house. It might be a box under a bridge, man, whatever you want to do, whatever makes you happy. Like I want things to not feel so out of reach, because that's was my fear. That's what kept me trapped in the system for a lot longer than I needed to be, because I didn't think I could do any of this by myself. I didn't think I still don't think I could do it by myself. You know what I mean? Every day that, every time I fix, a loose screw in the van, or I learn how to take a microwave out myself and like, make something into a bookshelf, like I get a little bit more confidence going. So I just want people to see that it's, it is not as pretty always as the Instagram filters are for all like the big, the big IG van life accounts. But it's also not as unattainable either. It can totally be done in whatever capacity. So I'm probably I'm going to be more of a van life realist.
You're just going to have to find some hippies that were around or still around that went to Woodstock and ask them how to do it. They'll have some.
You know, funnily enough, I know quite a few hippies actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, the awakening community is the new hippie. I mean, essentially, we're pulling out of the system, going back to hippies.
Yeah. Well,
hippie days.
Yeah, it's like the new age community that overlaps with the awakening community and the UFO community.
Yeah, and eventually the goal is that we're not going to call each other different communities. You know what I mean? I think that there's, I think that, Aaron and I met at Eclipse of Disclosure. Tyler, did you go to EOD?
No, I was at Dimensions in Colorado.
Last year? Yeah. So I think that, there's something for those of us that were at EOD, there was something that happened that's kind of unexplainable. And I don't think it was just localized to us there either. I think that this, it was far, far reaching. But there's something that was activated there that is really hard to explain. We all kind of got rocketed into the next dimension, and then we all got plopped right back into our 3D lives, and we're like, what the, you know what I mean?
I can attest to that, because that is absolutely true.
And I've been to a lot of different conferences, and I can say that I think we all feel a touch of that, whenever we come back. But there was just something different about that time and space. And I think one of the activations was a lot of us that are coming out and starting brands and are starting, and getting involved in the community and putting on conferences or, whatever our capacity is. I think that we're, you can't really peg us for one community or another. You know what I mean? Like out of our little group, Aaron, that we know, some of us come from holistic medicine. Some of us come from ufology. Some of us come from, some of us we're in different places in our awakening. And there's just, this whole like, oh, I'm in the hippie community, or I'm in the awakened community, or I'm in the Q community, or I'm in the, ufology community. Like we're all one community. Like it's always going to come back to the law of one at the end of the day, no matter which way you get there.
To me, it's just about, like it's the name of the podcast, Journey for Truth. We're all just on a quest for truth and for living, and
for finding ourselves,
for finding ourselves and like true living, basically. And
if they wanted so badly to fragment us so we don't know who we are and we don't know what our power is, then the biggest FU that we can do is the inner work, to find who we are, how powerful we actually are, and in whatever capacity that we're here to do that in. It's more important than the conferences. It's more important than the podcasts. It's more important than social media, marketing. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely. Yep.
All of that are vehicles, but that's not why we're here at all.
Yeah.
The new you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I'm into so much new stuff now that I never used to be into, and the stuff I used to be into
doesn't resonate anymore.
No, and people are like, they're like, oh, what happened? You were never into that stuff. Oh, but you don't even like that. Why are you eating that? Or what are you doing? I was like, well, you start realizing like that wasn't you that liked that stuff. That was the programmed version of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you thought you liked it, but once you start going inward, you realize like none of that resonates anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's like you start finding your soul. This is the way I kind of look at it. Like the true you, right? There's like, you've been living on these like false layers for your whole life, and you thought that was you, but then like we're finding our true selves, and all that stuff's kind of fallen away because we don't have the desire for it anymore, because it was the stuff that used to motivate us, and we used to be like entertained by certain things, or like enjoy certain music or whatever. Once you find your true self, you connect with that, and you just lose all these like 3D, a lot of like 3D kind of money, like
your ego deaths.
Yeah.
We're constantly, our egos are constantly dying. And when you think that it has died all it can and you have found who you are, incorrect, sir. The universe will be like, next level. Come on up.
You never
Someone up the water is shite.
yeah, exactly. And that, and like, doing shadow work and integrating the shadow and clearing traumas and all that stuff is vital too. And that's, you start doing that and it's gonna rock your world. And
every time.
It's gonna, yeah. I mean, obviously what you just said, like, you're a living example of that. So, and me too, maybe just.
I would be happy to bequeath that throne too, if anybody else wants to be the living example of clearing trauma.
Clearing trauma. Yeah.
Literally, my etheric team is like, no, you're not done.
Well, there was just a meme I saw the other day. It was a caterpillar and a butterfly sitting across from each other, and the caterpillar goes, "You've changed." The butterfly says, "You're supposed to."
We're supposed
yeah,
to.
we're supposed
Yeah,
to.
Yeah.
I mean, it says it all, really. Yeah, we're supposed to.
And that's like, I've had a bunch of people too that they're like, "Man, you've changed." Or like, "You're into all this weird stuff now," or like they'll make a comment saying like, "You're different. I don't like it," basically.
That's okay though.
And I'm just like,
and it's because we become reflections of, I'm a veteran. I was a bartender. I was a practicing alcoholic and addict for a long time. I've got 7 years sober, which is my service to humanity, by the way. Like, trust me, it's better for y'all if I stay sober. So, the metamorphosis is they just never stop. And, as and it's something they teach you in recovery, is that, you'll lose friends, like you will. You'll lose friends. For one, we should, certain friends are unhealthy and dangerous for us, but the other ones will just kind of fall away. And that was really my first experience with that. But then even, coming out of the closet, so I was with women for a majority of my adulthood. And so coming out of the closet, then there's, being vegan. Honestly, being vegan is one of the biggest, like, nobody wants to see that reflection. Nobody wants to look at it. That's why we're attacked all the time. All the vegan jokes, all the bacon jokes, all the, you know what I mean? Like,
you've got so many things too, because like vegan, gay, Trump supporter, or
Trump be coming out. But see, I was I've been following, obviously my awakening journey started in 2012. So my sobriety date is actually 2/22/12.
Nice.
Yeah. The universe is not subtle with me, but it really can't be. So that's my sobriety date. So my awakening started there. I had a lot of things launch me to that point. So really my awakening probably started a few years prior to that. But I just went completely blank. I don't when that happens, the universe is like, nope.
Yeah. Like, don't get ahead of yourself now.
Yeah, slow down.
I know, right? But I don't know where I was going with it. But ultimately, it's the reflection that we show people. Oh, the Trump stuff. So yes, I was a card carrying. Like, I was never a political person. Like, I would never have claimed a party. I rarely ever voted. Like, I wanted nothing to do with the whole system. I was that guy. And Aaron knows this, like, I drive a Prius and I hug trees. Like, that's, I was a card carrying liberal. Like, all of my ideals were liberal. I loved Obama. I loved, the whole shebang. Yeah. And starting, with Cosmic Disclosure in 2015, it wasn't until it was about a year and a half later that I found out that Obama was one of them, And having already been submerged in the world for, in this world for a year and a half, I still was not ready to accept that. Like, literally the person that told me, I was like, no. I was like, I can't do that one. Like, and it took me a couple.
It's all hard to accept at first. Really.
Oh, for sure. But if you've accepted, 8-foot tall blue birds in a bubble up in space, you think you could accept that maybe Obama's not, not a great guy. But no, I wasn't ready for that one. And then, it took me a few weeks. I came around because ultimately my beliefs are irrelevant to the truth, and as are all of our beliefs, you know what I mean? Opinions are irrelevant, belief is irrelevant. But when I finally came out as a supporter of our president, now you could put addict, vegan, gay, all conspiracy theorists, wrap it all in a bubble, and none of it compared to having to come out of the closet and talk about I'm a Trump supporter. Like, I mean, family stopped talking to me, like family stopped interacting with me. Like, it was just, I mean,
my entire band attacked me over it, and I had to quit the band.
Yeah, I remember that.
No way I could be around him without turning into an argument at that point.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how that just triggers people. It's like there's definitely, obviously, it's the divide and conquer tactic.
Oh, yeah.
It's working full force, because it really does just, you just say the word, like I mentioned a couple podcasts ago, it's like taboo to say Trump.
It is.
Like, honest, it
For
really
so many
is.
people, yeah.
For a lot of people,
like more than any other president or any other political thing that I know of. Yeah, it's just like so many hardcore anti-Trump people, but then at the same time there's so many super pro-Trump people, and it's like there's this huge divide there. But it just like it triggers people so bad just saying his name or just talking about him in any sort of positive way at all.
Well, and here's where I kind of I'm grateful for the view that I have, because I do come from that side of the line, right? I mean, if I hadn't found my way, or if it hadn't found its way to me, the disclosure community, I would have been, the activist to end all activists against the president. You know what I mean? Like, I would have been the megaphone, right? And I know that. And so I'm able to be very compassionate, because not only was I, brainwashed in the exact same way, but I know that moment when I finally,
before he became president, I was super anti-Trump. I was for Bernie.
Sure. Yeah.
Me too.
And until I realized, I don't know what I'm talking about. I haven't done my research. And
right, but I realized when I finally came to accept that Obama was deep state, right? Mm-hmm. It was such a pivotal moment in my timeline and in my even in my activism, for disclosure, because it was at a moment of clarity where I realized that they hijacked the most evolved of us, right? Like they hijacked. Come on, think of Democrats. It's a crowd of wanderers. They're just still asleep, right? Like because we have this sense that we know we do want to take care of everybody. We know that borders are crap. You know what I mean? Like we know that we're all on one rock and it's one human and we want to save the world and da 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 da. And that's why we all got sucked into that world.
And take advantage of that. Easily. Yeah. And
they literally hijacked our evolution.
Yeah. And it's a state person. Yeah.
And they hijacked all the bleeding hearts of the world. And that's when I went from being angry to being activated. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I got you now. I was like, because everything I did for you on this side of the line is coming at you on this side of the line, and full force. So
that's beautiful.
So with understanding that all of those people, Trump derangement syndrome and the family members that don't talk to us anymore, and anything along those lines, they have half of the United States has the full force of the deep state's propaganda arm aimed at them. You know what I mean? In the media. How could they not? Because if we didn't know what we knew, we would believe the same things, and we would think we were fighting for the right side, and we would have the best intentions. You know what I mean? And so, yes, does the derangement syndrome obviously get a little out of hand? Like, for sure. But you know what I mean? Just like the general day-to-day people, they truly, their hearts are breaking. They're being traumatized on a daily basis over and over and over again via the media, and so I can't, it helps me kind of center myself back into compassion versus like arguing and fighting and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, because I literally can't imagine still being that asleep, and that breaks my heart more than, you know what I mean? Like more than anything. So, and there was a time that I was them, you know, so it just makes it easier to be in their shoes.
We all were.
We talk about that, and I think about it sometimes also, like, so it's tough. It's very difficult understanding the true reality of what's happening behind the scenes with the pedophilia, the human trafficking, just everything in general, just the way we've been mind controlled and the corruption. I could go on and on. The list never stops. And it makes it difficult to go out sometimes and have a good time and partake in certain events when you know the underlying background, what's driving, whatever event you may be attending, what movie you may be seeing. It's so, when you go back to that, when we were still sleeping, like there is truth, and ignorance is bliss. Like I think about like how carefree and happy I used to live my life. And well, now I just don't have the luxury of doing that anymore, from my own experiences and just.
Well, to me, it's almost like, though I wasn't truly happy then, because I wasn't really living for my true self.
I agree.
Going back to what I said before. So now it's like, it's real happiness now. And I don't even care about if people want to hate me or not talk to me anymore. It's like, well, you know, those people aren't meant to be in your life. If they're gonna cut you out, like let them go. Like they're not your true friends and your true family are gonna stick with you.
For sure.
100%.
So,
and
don't worry about it.
It surprises me, like you said, friends drop off, and there's a couple that stuck around.
Yeah.
And now I understand why. And you know, they're just all different levels. So, and there's a few, the vast majority are just gone, just irrelevant. Not irrelevant, I'm sorry, guys.
We'll take that out in editing.
Yeah.
No, you can, keep it real. Leave it in there.
There you go.
You guys all suck.
This is wrong.
No.
Yeah. But love and light.
Yeah.
No, now I understand. What I meant is, like they were not relevant to my life anymore, I should say. That's a much better way of putting it.
It's true. And it all goes back to the laws of physics. You know what I mean? Like vibrations meet like vibrations. And, you know, it's just, it really is resonance. And that's not a woo-woo word. Like it's science, you know, it's science that has been deliberately suppressed from us, you know, that the opposition fully understands, you know, and is utilizing against us. But it really is resonance. And, you know, there's some days the disclosure community doesn't resonate with me. You know, I've kind of gone through a phase this year where, you know, I got pulled more into this van life project, right? And whereas, you know, at the end of last year, I have another project, you know, kind of on the back burner that for some reason, I don't know why, I still haven't figured it out, but the resonance for that fizzled out. And I know it's still there. I can feel it. You know what I mean? Like I know it's still kind of hanging, but if I were to pick that project back up right now, it would be a struggle and it would be a fight and it would be like trudging, you know what I mean? Like the wrong way down a uphill, down a mudslide. Like it wouldn't be the right time. And it's resonance, you know, and the people in our lives are the same things. What we're passionate about is the same thing. Like, we're going to vibrate at different frequencies as we either heal or choose not to heal certain things, you know? And as more information comes to us, like one of the things I think is really cool though, Tyler, about what you're saying with friends dropping off is other friends have picked up where those other friends left off. You know what I mean? Like I have made reconnections on Facebook with people that I never, ever would have, one, suspected to be in any level of awakened, or two, that I would have anything in common with, you know what I mean? Like people from high school and people, you know, just that have come back up, that of all the people that were fighting and screaming at me about the Trump stuff, there were those one or two asking questions. And that's what I'm here for. You know what I mean? I'm not here to change your mind. I'm not here to like beat a truth into you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put information at your feet. You do with it what you want. But it was just incredibly beautiful to see those few people reaching out over text because they were too afraid to put it on social media, reaching out through Messenger, just asking questions, you know. And because I'm such a, like, in my other life, like, I'm such an anomaly because I was that, like, card carrying, rainbow flag, Obama sticker, like, you know, Prius driving vegan, like, because I was that person, you know, people are like, wait, I'm confused, you know. But honestly, like, in that confusion, I've been able to reach a few people, you know what I mean? Because they know that I'm not a bandwagon person, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not just, I research stuff before it had anything to do with disclosure and spread information. Obviously research it the wrong way because I thought vaccines were great. I never really thought vaccines were great, but, you know, Obama. So you know, it's how I keep it real. When I'm thinking I'm too awakened for anybody, I'm like, girl, you voted for Obama, sit down. You know. But yeah, it was in those moments that the few people that were like, okay, a conspiracy theory is wrong and a conspiracy theorists are crazy, but I know that person and they're not like that. Why are they saying that? Let me ask. That's my goal. Like, if I can get that one person to reach through and say, Kalyn, I know you, and why are you saying this? Like, then that is the door. That's the door that opens organically. You know what I mean? Yes. The other ones we're never going to reach because it's not their time, or I'm not their avenue, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to save anybody.
Yeah. The people that are ready for this stuff, they're going to be the ones that are going to reach out and ask questions and be more receptive to it. Yeah. The people that aren't, they're just, nothing you say or do is going to change that, and you can't force it on anyone.
You can't, because then you're no better than them. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean the bad guys. Like, you know, it's free will at the end of every single day. You know, it's free will, and everybody has the right to be where they are in their own journey.
Mm-hmm. What's interesting is you talk about people like texting you because they don't want to talk about it and stuff. There's a guy at work, he said, hey, what's this podcast you're doing? I heard about, you know, and I told him what it was. He looked it up, and that was the end of it. And like, I don't know, a month goes by, and I pass him in the hallway at work. He's like, hey, just so you know, I'm on the same page as you are.
Nice.
As far as like the alien stuff and everything.
Because we got to like meet in the shadows behind, you know, in back alleys, like hey, man,
that's what it takes. You know? But exactly. And that's what I got out of it. It was very discreet and subtle, and then was like back to work. But
that's amazing.
It's just funny to me. It's,
you know what's really cool though is I remember, it had to have been last year. I don't know what frequency I stepped into, but for about 3 months, I was having full on disclosure conversations with the most random people. I'm talking my pest control guy that came to spray my thing. Literally, we stood in my living room for like 20 minutes, and I got to explain to him who Q was. I was like, why don't you look up this guy named Jordan Sather? Like, just start at video 1 and you'll be all caught up by the time you're done. You know? One of my employees pulled me aside when I was still a manager at the marketing agency. I think literally in the grocery store aisle, like just the most random, like at the auto shop. Like, I can't even tell you guys, it was the weirdest thing. Just all of a sudden, everybody was wanting to talk and ask questions. You know what I mean? And it was just, it was amazing that, you know, because even though we understand the propaganda tactics of the media, at the end of the day, that's all, you know, we're still being inundated with it as well, right? So we think that, you know, nobody's awakened and we're fighting to awaken everybody and like da-da-da-da-da. There are way more people awake than we are even fully aware of. And it is so amazing to get to witness it. Like, as hard as this life has been and as long of a talk that I'm going to have with my etheric team when I'm done with this incarnation, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so beautiful here to see the most random people, like, just know vaccines are wrong, or just know that there's something going on with the government, or just know that UFOs exist. Like, whatever it is that they know, like, so many more people know things than we, I think, are even conscious of.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. Just, a lot of them are still in the closet still about it. I mean, I was for literally 5 years. For 5 years. Because my awakening started like you, it started in 2012. I literally didn't start didn't talk or like even post on Facebook about any of this stuff until 2017, like beginning of 2017, I think. And then I went to Eclipse of Disclosure later that year and met you. But yeah, for 5 years, I literally was just doing my own research. Didn't talk to my family, friends, bandmates, anyone about this stuff. It was literally just
there's
me.
no place to talk about it when you're first.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have any friends that. I mean, there were like maybe a couple of things here and there that I'd be like, oh, I can tell this person about this. But the vast majority of it, yeah, I had zero friends or anyone that I could talk to about, aliens or.
Well, and that is the psyop. Like that is the psychological warfare. That is the tactic. I mean, I always tell people, don't ever, 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 ever underestimate the deep state, or whoever, the opposition, because they're evil geniuses. Because if you take the conspiracy theorist psyop, they don't even have to do the work. Like we literally do it for them. You know what I mean? They got our entire planet programmed to do their own work. If something leaks about, a craft or a program, a clandestine program, if something leaks about that, they don't even have to lift a finger. You know what I mean? To prove that it's not true or make up anything, because the first whistleblower, you know what I mean? Like we will say it's not true before they have to do anything. Like, and it's honestly, it's brilliant. When I was in the military, I was in military intelligence and I was in human intelligence. So like, I have always appreciated that particular psyop, because it is, we will, and that's what it does. It keeps us in the closet. It keeps us quiet. We don't talk about it to anybody because we don't want to look like the crazy person. You know what I mean? Like, and when we do talk about it, when we do finally wake up and we want to go wake up all our friends and all our loved ones, and you know what I mean? Like, they shoot us down. So we stop talking about it. And we, you know what I mean? Like it's really very brilliant how they put it together.
It really is.
But it's brilliant.
Yeah, because it's social conditioning. They've been working on that. They're like, all right, we want them to stay away from this, any conspiracy or UFO or ET stuff. Like we want the reaction to that to be, oh, haha, that's ridiculous. So They've been really working on like conditioning everyone to have that reaction for the last 60 years or whatever.
And the one advantage that they have is they understand the human body, they understand the soul, they understand the truth. So therefore they know us better than we know ourselves, because we're still
by design.
So they have a huge advantage, the deep state, as far as that goes, because they know how we work. We don't even know how we work. We get sick, we're taught to take Dayquil, and what does that do? Nothing. It probably makes it worse. But
puts money in their pocket and gets you a good buzz.
Yeah. We don't know, and it fucks up your appetite.
Yeah, I think that's the buzz.
It's all geared to treat the symptoms, but nothing treats the actual root cause, and we're never taught what the root causes are for most things.
No, there's no money to be made.
Exactly. So we're all going around getting sick and treating the symptoms, and then we're staying sick, or we keep getting sick and living unhealthy, and we don't understand, if I would just eat better, or if I would even like releasing, like doing trauma clearing and that work that makes you healthier, and like clearing your energy. But just from the food and that aspect of it, like we're all eating all this unhealthy stuff and GMOs and everything else.
Well,
we're wondering why
our doctors, the thing is, we're not taught about it, but neither are doctors or the people that are going to these universities. And then they're the ones giving the authority. And the problem is people put so much trust into their doctors, their primary care doctors. They know them.
Bingo.
There is no way you can argue with that. That's why it's just.
They're like, they're the authority, so what they say must be true. And
but then you don't question about where they went to school, where they got their education.
Exactly. People don't understand that they're not parroting knowledge, they're parroting their education. And they only know what they were taught, and they don't know what they weren't taught, and the biggest thing, if there's one thing I can get anybody to walk away from, is understanding the connection between what we consume And consume can mean food, drink, lotion, air quality. Like the biggest organ in our body is right here. This is it, you know, and this is a sponge. We are a walking sponge. Our skin absorbs everything. And so people, it's not, I'm so sorry I keep messing with this. This is just the ear that does not want to stay in, but it's the one that's got the mic on it. You know, they think, you know, even, you know, you have people that are eating high vibe diets, but they're going around putting Jergens on their skin every day. You know what I mean? And or using Suave shampoo, or, you know, Tide, washing their clothes with Tide. Like I mean, we have to understand that this awakening process is more than likely going to be never ending, because every facet of the reality that we understand has been touched by this operation, you know, to oppress this planet, right? So I mean, and a lot of people, a lot of times in the awakening process, I'm sure we've all said it, I'm sure you guys have heard other people say it, they just want to say F it, because there's so much, you know, like, oh my God, isn't there one thing that's okay? The answer really is no, it's not. You know what I mean? Like there really isn't one thing that they did with our best interest at heart. Like there really isn't.
It's like any of the big companies, anything that's mainstream or that's big, there's a reason. It's because it's all controlled by them, and it's all
exactly.
You really have to do your due diligence and seek out the stuff that's clean and healthy. And
I have so many family members that are going through different medical things, and you know, I've said this a few times on FDP, like the only disconnect between what we consume and our health is our understanding of it. That's it. Because there is no disconnect. What you put into your body is how your body is going to react. And that's what's going to manifest in your body. And I don't mean manifest in the woo-woo phase. I mean manifest as in the scientific, like tumors, cancers, disease, autoimmune, you know what I mean? Like, there's just, we can't, but again, what a brilliant way to oppress a civilization, you know what I mean, is to not teach them that there's a connection between their food and their health, to not teach them that the planet provides everything that we need, you know, that our synergistic relationship with the planet is no different than every other animal, but yet we think that we have to have synthetic things made in a lab to be okay. Like, again, by design, they didn't tell us that. They didn't teach us that. Like, they programmed us a different way, you know, but ultimately we can't put whatever we want in our body, on our body, around our body, you know, and then wonder why certain things happen to us. You know what I mean? And then go tell the doctor, fix me.
Yeah.
You know?
I like Neera Isley said, and just to add to what you were saying, we're not taught about our emotions and our feelings either. Mm-hmm. Never. As a kid, as being a boy, I was told, you know, you think it's not okay to cry, you know, like toughen up, you know, you don't cry, boys don't cry.
Be a man.
Be a man, whatever. And you grow up thinking that. And, you know, and then you go see a movie on a first date with some girl and you're like, God, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry.
That is heartbreaking.
Well, and then it's like, you know, you just shove down all your emotions and you keep them bottled up. And that alone will make you sick, because you're just storing all that.
That's how you get cancer.
In your energy field. Yeah. And you're not releasing and letting them emotions flow. And it's just getting stuck, and it's really
suppressed
bad.
emotions lead to cancer. Everybody who's listening right now, I don't care if you believe.
Let me repeat that for him. Suppressed emotions lead to cancer and a host of other diseases and disorders.
Yes,
correct.
This is very true.
And that's it's hard to it's really hard to comprehend and understand that. But I got into Dolores Cannon years ago and started looking into her stuff, and I've experienced my own miraculous healing by going to a therapist that was trained by Dolores personally.
UHHT.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm a walking example of that, and I'll get into that story another time. But so it's true. It really is true.
Mm-hmm. I know it is, and you know it is. Now it's just getting everybody else to understand it is the probably life goal. Like the life goal.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you brought up emotions though, because that's, you know, a lot of, I have a background in psychology. That's kind of hard to explain, but ultimately, like, I have an understanding of psychology that kind of goes above and beyond any of my education in it. And, you know, it's just, I think it's kind of one of those things I just came here with. I think we all have that thing, you know what I mean, that we just kind of came here with. And that's, you know, that one thing that we can't really explain how we know what we know, but we know it, you know what I mean? And psychology has always been mine. Now technology, I don't understand the technology on this planet. Like, I'm not kidding. You can give me a car part, or you can give me a computer, and I'm like, nah, like my brain doesn't work that way. But I do have an understanding of emotions and stuff like that. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. And I love, Aaron, how you said, you know, just made the point of that energy has to move, because it does. I mean, at the end of the day, it really is just science. And that's why sometimes you'll see, I'll use the hashtag scientific spirituality, you know, because there is this, I never know how to say this word, chasm or chasm. I'm not really sure, you know, the big divide, like chasm.
It looks like chasm, but it's chasm.
Oh, I'm kind of sad it's not chasm, but okay. So, so chasm, you know, there is a chasm that has been deliberately put in between science and spirituality, because again, the powers that will not be for very much longer, like, they understand that if we understand that they are one and the same, like, we're unstoppable, you know what I mean? And like, and they can't, like, they can't oppress us that way, right? So again, you know, like you said, the emotions and causing cancer and all these other things. I mean, we are made of energy. Like, I think that is widely accepted. Everybody knows that when you get it down to the smallest molecules, that we are in motion, right? Everything. The tables we're sitting on, our bodies, like, we're in motion. And so if people just got a little bit more understanding of physics, you know, if there is if there's energy going this way, it's like water in a dam. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a flowing river going this way and you put a log right there, the water's going to build up right there and make something, right? It's either going to spill out, or it's going to make a bigger hole, or it's going to do something, right? But it's not going to flow correctly. And you know, we think that cancer and tumors are just this mysterious, you know, we can send people to the moon, but we can't figure out, you know, why cells divide rapidly and make a ball in our body. Like, come on, they know how, they know why, you know what I mean? Like, they know exactly why it's happening, you know, but it's that energy it's being dammed up from an emotion we're not dealing with, you know, a trauma we haven't looked at, you know, or even just this god-awful slave system that we're all being oppressed under.
I like what you said, how, you know, you don't understand the technology, but we understand this. Now that's a huge testament, because that tells you that tells you where the truth lies, because how do we understand all of this stuff? It's just like we're remembering it, it's resonating with us. But the technology, the AI that isn't supposed to be here, we don't get it. You know,
I don't understand technology.
But we get all this other stuff effortlessly. As like what you just said, like, I'm pretty sure, like, a lot of that stuff you just, like, woke up and, like, you get it, like, somehow, like, the truth is always the truth, you know. It reminds me of an old Joe Rogan stand-up. He said, if I put you in the woods with a hatchet, how long till you could send me an email, you know? That just goes to show you where we understand or where we stand in our understanding of this technology. But when you start going inward and start understanding the true technology, your body, which is much easier to understand, if you decide to go down that path, it's easier, because that's what we're supposed to be doing.
For sure.
We're not supposed to be figuring out how we can build a 5G tower in the most effective place, you know.
Oh my God. I swear to God, I'm going to carry a slingshot and start knocking them down on the freeway.
Yeah, a slingshot.
Although technically I'm in Arizona and we're still the Wild West, and I can conceal carry without a permit. So I could just forego the slingshot and carry my 9mm. I'm a veteran. I'm sorry. Love and light, but yes, I can defend
you better slingshot him with some organite though.
Yeah.
What if we just put organite around all
Honestly, I mean, that was the initial, and maybe this is something we all need to take a look at again. I mean, the initial movement with organite was, seeing if I feel like I have one.
I got one right here as an example.
You have a tower buster?
Oh no, I just have the pyramid.
That's the pyramid one, but hold on one second.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
So these are tower busters. My friend, remember that I said the yin to my yang, my old coworker, he used to call them spirit patties because I made him put them in his office. We called them spirit patties. They look like hockey pucks.
Yeah.
These are there's a website that I'll send to you guys that you guys can put in the link if you want to. There's a website I've been ordering from for years and years, and these come in a pack of 12. You usually get 13 and a pyramid, and he usually throws in some other little piece that he made. But these are tower busters. They were made, people used to go and bury these next to cell towers.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, these were supposed to, to offset that radiation in that area. So I don't know, maybe we should get a movement going again to.
Yeah, I wonder how long,
5G tower busters.
If we're monitored like we think we are, I wonder how long that would stay buried there. Honestly, like
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, but there's got to be something about the energy we put in behind not, you know what I mean? Like not consenting to that crap that should do something at least on a cosmic level at the very least.
Sure. I like that.
Yeah.
Everybody go buy a 12-pack of hockey pucks and start burying them.
Spirit patties.
Yeah. We're gonna buy hockey pucks.
Yeah, no.
Just kidding, guys. It's organite. I forgot there's people listening and not watching. Guys, it's organite, I promise.
Not hockey pucks.
So do you want to kind of you take this time and talk about Dimensions of Disclosure this year?
Yes, everybody go. Yay.
Everyone go to Dimensions of Disclosure. We will be there. We will all be there.
And you're going to be, explain, what are you doing behind the scenes there, and what can we expect?
Well, like I said, I went with production assistant because that sounds better than crazy lady on a golf cart moving at 1,000 miles an hour for 3 days, which is how most people probably remember me from DOD last year. And the blue hair. Blue hair. So DOD this year is in Ventura Beach, California. A little different from previous years where we usually, take over the side of a mountain or something. This time we're going right into the middle of the city. A lot of really amazing beach energy right there. We are literally like you walk across the street from the hotel to the beach. We have a section of the park that we have been granted that we are going to create kind of an open space where there's going to be tents and different kind of overflowed workshops and healing modalities and things like that. And then obviously we have the conference inside the Marriott. There will be, you guys are testing my knowledge, there will be a conference rate at the hotel, or because we are in the middle of the city, there's going to be tons of other accommodation options, which if you go to dimensionsofdisclosure.com, there is an accommodations page that will show you everything from camping to different hotels and rates in the area.
You want to tell people when it is, the dates exactly?
It is August 23rd through the 25th. So check-in will begin about 8 a.m. that Friday, and we're going to run until about 10 p.m. Sunday evening. For those that are looking, to make travel plans and so forth. So, and it's just going to be a little bit different this year. It's not going to be all sitting and speakers all day long type of a thing, where we'll have a global mass meditation every day at 11:11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. There's going to be, it's kind of maybe more, there's going to be more interactive things to do. So some roundtable talks and some Q&As, and a really cool feature that we've added this year is community workshops. So, historically at conferences, speakers, have a workshop offering that they give aside from their lecture. But this year we just have so many amazing offerings from the community, and a lot of really amazing talents and research that's been done, and different healing modalities and so forth, that we're actually going to have a room set up that will coordinate. I think I'm that coordinator actually, so if people want to do workshops, or if they want to do, if they have a healing modality, if they have, anything, if you guys wanted to come on and do a live broadcast, you know what I mean? Like in there so really it's open to ideas and suggestions and offerings. And if you go to the community workshops tab on the page, I believe is what it says, you can fill out a form if you would like to be considered for that. It's a finite space and time because we have the room for so many days and so many offerings. So we're gonna right now we're in the process of just collecting all of the inquiries and seeing what we can fit in there, and then there'll be the park space as well for some of that overflow too.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
You're making me, geez, I already went to Hawaii. I'm going to ECETI. I don't know if I can afford a third one. That would be very cool if we were able to do something like that at the
do it.
Yeah. And if you've seen the list of speakers, we have a lot of new speakers this year. Robert David Steele, Sasha Stone. There's going to be some new faces, and then also some speakers that are going to be covering, disclosure has shifted. It's very political right now, and it's very between QAnon and the president and all of that stuff. Like there's a lot more is coming up about 3-letter agencies, and a lot more people are waking up to that information because of what President Trump has been put through, over the last 2.5 years. So there's going to be, there's just going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot more dynamic. And then obviously, there's a lot of the same faces, Dr. Sala, Laura Eisenhower, Justin Deschamps. Like there's going to be a lot of the familiar faces, but then a lot of new faces too, just because again, all the communities have to come together. This is not us against them and them against them and them against us and them. And you know what I mean? Like it is all of us against one force. And that is the SOBs that, have been occupying our planet for the last 200,000 years.
The POS SOBs.
That, what he said.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm in the Army. I was in the Army. I speak acronym. Yeah.
That's so that sounds amazing. You're really making me second guess.
You should go.
I know I should. This damn freaking deep state system I'm stuck in.
That's when you get a bunch of people and you share one room and everybody sleeps on the floor, call the bathtub or something, and just, however you can manipulate that, that system, by all means. Like
it's more or less, I'm not even going to talk about the reasons I can't, because I don't want to feed it. So we're not going to talk about it.
There you
go. So yeah, but it sounds amazing. I can't wait. I really can't. I can't wait to, I guess I should say, is it going to be broadcasted live? Or? We
do have a live stream ticket. Yep. The live stream will be for any of the speakers and lectures on the main stage. So workshops won't be included. And this is mostly a technical issue because we don't have the setup to put, live stream in multiple rooms. So we'll have it set up on the main stage in the conscious sphere. And the mass meditations, historically, we've broadcasted those live through Facebook Live, generally through the SBA page. So I'm going to guess that we will probably do that again this year, at least one of the 3 days. So but yes, there's definitely a live stream ticket for anybody that can't make it or too far away or whatever for whatever the reasons are. So highly suggest that as well.
Yeah, I may be checking that out. We'll have to see. So, anything else that you want to add or tell everybody before we wrap this up?
Just that I'm sure, when you post this one, you'll have tagged me in some way. If there are any brands out there, if there are any, people that are trying to start a blog or trying to start a group or a page or whatnot, anything that I can, please reach out to me via Facebook Messenger. I will tell everybody I'm the worst Facebook or social media manager because I don't have Messenger on my phone. And so far I have held out and refused to download it on my phone. So I rarely see Messenger, but after Friday, I will be sure to check it more often. Might download it on my phone, maybe. But please reach out to me if I can be of any assistance. And I am in marketing for a living. And if there is, a way that I can even help you, if you need me as like on a consultant level, then we can work that out, between us. But if you just have a few questions, or if there's just any of the tips I gave that I can explain in a more applicable way, and kind of give you some examples, please reach out to me, because I have had this, what I thought was very useless information in my head since 2012 about social media and understanding this algorithm. Now I know why I have it. So it's all about flipping the script. It's all about turning the tables back on them and utilizing their own spy platform, you know what I mean? To wake everybody else up. So please, if I can be of any assistance, just shoot me a message on Facebook Messenger and we will go from there.
Aaron, make sure you shoot her a message. We need some
Aaron
help.
and I will FaceTime later, I'm sure.
Oh man, we really could use some advice, so we might come at you.
Absolutely. I've already thought of it. I've already thought about it. So yeah, I got you guys.
You can just be our manager.
Yeah.
Deal.
Yay.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. It's been amazing.
Yes.
For sure.
So much.
Yeah, I loved everything you had to say. Make sure everybody's listening. Message her for
Everyone message Kalyn.
yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, please go on and like Full Disclosure Project if you guys aren't already following them, or following us, I should say. And Dimensions of Disclosure has a Facebook group if you want to keep up with things that are going on with the conference. Dimensionsofdisclosure.com for tickets or information about the conference. And by sometime this weekend, my goal is to have this Vantastic Life launched on Facebook and IG. So if you care about tiny living or getting away from the system or living in a van or travel, any of those things, feel free to find me on IG and Facebook for this Vantastic Life too.
So get a hold of her on all of those platforms. And as soon as you can, sell your house and buy a van.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Or an RV or a whatever works, man. Yeah. For sure.
Fun. All right. Well, I guess we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up then. Thanks again. It was amazing.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for giving me the platform to plug a few things and to share some of my knowledge and experience. It's humbling that you.
Sorry,
Tyler, just stopped the recording
on accident. So
I'll have to edit this into the.
So what happened?
I accidentally stopped the recording for a second.
Early.
I was getting ready to stop it, and
he was putting his mouse over and he clicked on accident.
Yeah.
Do I need to see? Oh, okay, gotcha.
No, it was.
We were just saying bye, but it got cut off because Tyler stopped.
We'll just cue the music then. Sorry,
it's all good. We're recording now, though, right?
Yeah, it's recording again. Yeah. Anyway.
All right, whole new podcast.
Yeah.
Now. Let's do it.
Yay. Hey, welcome to Journey.
Hey, welcome to Journey.
Part 2.
Part 2. All right. Well.
Yeah. So that's it.
Yeah,
you can probably just fade the music out.
Thank you so much for coming on. Yeah.
Are we done?
Fine. Yeah, we're done.
So I just hang up on you guys now, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.